The best healthcare is there in ways big and small. There when we most and least expect it. We may not see it, but we feel it. It lets us know we're not in this alone. Everyone deserves a healthcare partner who never quits. One who's there for what matters. United Healthcare. There for what matters.
Finally tired of doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results? Well, this show is going to help you change your life for the better. Strap on your seatbelt and navigate this roller coaster we call life with human potential expert and best-selling author Dr. Verna Price. Each week, Dr. Verna blesses you with her virtues to live your best life so you can be the best you that you can be.
Welcome back to Dr. Verna's Virtues. For those of you who are brand new to my podcast, welcome. I'm Dr. Verna Cornelia Price, and it's a pleasure to meet you. And this podcast is really all about getting you to your next level. It's all about getting you to your next level in one piece. So you can get to your next level, but lose your mind. And you don't want that. You can get to your next level and be angry. You don't want that. You can get to your next level and have no peace. You don't want that, right? So you want to get to your next level and be whole. And that's the goal of this work. For those of you who are my returnees, good to see you again. Thanks for coming and thanks for listening. And keep on, I've been looking at my podcast and I am really clear that many of you are listening, but you're not sharing. So I want you to not only listen to the podcast, but I want you to share the podcast as well with your family and friends. You know people who need this work. And it's as simple as hitting the share button and sending it onto your Facebook page, your Instagram page, or TikTok, or wherever it is that you want to send it to, or plain old email. You can send a plain old email to your friends and family and colleagues and put the podcast in there so people can listen and learn. Why? Why are we doing this work? We're doing this work. I am doing this work. So that, and I say we because I think about our whole podcasting team, as Shaletta makes me laugh, we're all doing this work so that we can help our community, our people, our world be better. So that's really why we do this work. That's really why I do this work. So anyway, so in the podcast, we always start out with an affirmation. Let's go ahead and start with the affirmation. This is my life and I get to change it when I want to, how I want to, if I want to, because it was given to me. And that makes me very valuable, very important, very lovable, and extremely powerful. Absolutely. You have enough power right now in your life to change your life. So today's session, I've been in the nonprofit world for quite some years. And I never intended to be a nonprofit executive. I literally just answered a call from my community to help and mentor girls in my community. Well, that helping and mentoring girls, which I started, was Girls in Action. I renamed it Girls Taking Action. This is 18 years later, and having mentored over 6,000 girls here in the Twin Cities, in this country, the United States, and across the world. So in this world of nonprofit, you have to learn something. And one of the things you have to learn is how to ask. And what I found is that so many of us don't know how to ask. And so I'm going to name this podcast today, The Power of the Ask. How to ask, when to ask, why to ask. And, a lot of us spend a lot of time, we may complain about something, or we may talk about something, or we may worry about something, or we may think about something. But let me tell you, if there is something that you want, and I'm not just talking about money, I'm not just talking about stuff. It could be a hug. It could be, something that you need done in your house. It could be something on your job. It could, the power of the ask, how to ask and get what it is that you want is really important in life, because most of us do not ask. Most of us just kind of talk around it, but we don't go straight to what is it that you want. So the power of the ask, first of all, is just knowing, what do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want me to do for you? What are you looking for? So get clear about what you want, right? And then when you get to the place where you're framing your ask, there's a couple of questions for you to ask yourself. These are your own kind of pre-work questions before making that ask. And it is important to make that ask. It is important, right? So before you get there, the first thing to do is simply clarify what you want. What do you want? And make what you want so clear that when it is that you finally are asking for that thing, it is clear. Secondly, you know why you want it. Why do you want this? Why is it important to you? If you're asking for a raise, why is that important? If you're asking for a partnership, why is that important? If you're asking for a spouse, why is that important? If you're asking for whatever you're asking for, right? You're asking in your relationship for more communication. Why is that important? Knowing why you want something is very important. The third thing you have to know, and once again, in asking, you have to know who you're asking. Are you asking the right person? Because sometimes you're asking the wrong person. Sometimes what you need, that person simply cannot get you. They cannot give it to you. It is not either within their authority, in their sphere, in their resources. You know, one of the things I've learned in the nonprofit world is to ask the question, am I talking to the right person? Am I talking to a decision maker? Or am I talking to someone who just likes to have a conversation? Like, for example, there are some people who are ideas persons, right? They just like ideas. They love ideas. And they love sitting around, having coffee, having tea, talking about ideas. And they have lots of ideas. But don't ask them to do anything because they're not ever going to do anything about all of that conversating. They just like conversating. So know who you're talking to. Know what is in their sphere. Is that a person who will take action? And is that a person who can fulfill your question? Is that a person who has what it is that you are looking for? So know who you're talking to. Okay? Once you figure out who it is that you want to talk to, who you need to talk to, next phase, start building relationship. Start doing your research. Who is that person? What is that person about? What is the situation? What do you need to know? What is the story? What is the context? What is the what is it that's going on here that you need to know? Is there some history you need to know before you make that ask? Right? Is there some preparation that you need to have done before you go over there to ask them something? And I've learned in this work, right? Before I ask, I've got to have my plan in place. I've got to know what I want. I've got to know why I want it. I've got to know the person who I'm going to. And don't waste your time on people. I mean, and that may sound terrible, right? It does sound kind of terrible, but it's true. Don't waste your time with people who have no authority. They cannot get you anywhere, right? Now, there are times, however, where the person may not be the person who can answer the question and or provide what it is you're asking, but they may be the person who is the connection to the person. So then your time is spent getting to know them because they have a connection somewhere else where it is that you can ask. But you have to be really clear so people don't think that you're using them. You have to be really clear. You have to say something like, you know what? I know that you're not the person who has the authority to do anything about my question and or to answer my question and or to give me any sort of feedback on this. But I do know that you have connections. And what I'm asking you is to provide me with some background, with some contact, with some information, with some connections that may help me when I get to the place where I'm going to ask, because I am going to ask for that contract. I am going to ask for that, for that partnership. I am going to ask for that situation to change. I am going to ask. So all of these things happen. Now, let me tell you what happens when you ask. Okay. When you ask, you should first of all have an expectation. You've done your homework. You know what you're asking. You know why you're asking. You know what you're asking for. You should have an expectation. Now, I don't ask for anything unless I expect to totally get it. You hear what I'm saying to you? Totally get it. So if I'm going to ask you for something, it's because I know you have it. It's because I know you have the capacity to give it to me. It's because I know you can work that thing out. I'm not going to ask you if I don't think you can. Because why? It's a waste of time. And then also it's a waste of expectations too. I don't want to have an expectation for you that I know you can't fulfill. So when you ask, be sure that you're managing your expectation. My first expectation is simply that, yes, you're going to say yes. You're going to respond positively to me. And if I didn't think you were going to respond positively to me, then I would have done some more homework and I would have taken maybe a different direction or talked to someone else who I know I could get a positive response from. But sometimes, even though I don't get a positive response, I get enough, what I would say, interest that I say to them, I'm going to ask again because I know you can do this thing. I'm going to ask again because I know you're the person who can open that door for me. I'm going to ask again because you know what? I know that you have the connections to where it is that you know I am headed. So I'm going to ask again. So just expect me to be back. Now that might sound really bold because it is, right? If you're bold enough to ask for something, then you better be bold enough to stand there and expect it. And if you don't get it, to ask again. So that you can do what? Move forward. What is this really all about? It's about you move forward. And you can't move forward unless you ask for things. Now, for those of you who are like, I don't want to ask for anything, Dr. Verna, I can do it myself. You can't do nothing yourself. Nothing. You need people. You need connections. You need partnerships. You need people. So if you think you're going to do it yourself, you're going to be broke for the rest of your life and you're going to be very sad too. So you have to ask. You got to ask. And it can be a simple ask or it could be a huge ask. But either way, you have to ask. Let me tell you, many, many years ago, and I'll finish up because it's getting long. Many, many years ago, I had a white Jewish man who was just watching me conduct a session at the University of Minnesota. I was working on my master's degree and just about finished up with it. And when I was doing some more kind of community activist work with the Humphrey Institute and so forth. And this white Jewish man, he called me to his office and he said, young lady, you are full of potential. What do you want in life? What do you want? And let me tell you, had I not had an answer to that question, right? He used the power of the ask. He asked me a question and he expected an answer. And guess what? I had asked myself that question many years ago. So I had an answer. And when I gave him that answer, you know what that answer resulted in? That answer resulted in a scholarship at the University of Minnesota for me to work on my PhD. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? It's the power of the ask. You are going to have people who will ask you some things of you. And you will have to ask some things of other people. Do not be afraid to ask for what you want. If you want it, if you need it, ask for it. And what can they say? When I told this man what I wanted a PhD. Could he help me do that? That's the power of the ask. He could have said no, but he didn't. He said, yes, absolutely. I will help you do that. I will help make that happen for you. If you're going to get to your next level in 2024, remember, more in 2024, you're going to have to start asking for what you want. So get clear about it. Know why you want it. Do your research. Make those connections. And open up your mouth and ask for what you want. All right. So hopefully you have all my books by now, my new book, Power Lessons for Life. And go to my Shopify store, powerlessonsforlife.com, powerlessonsforlife.com. And then also, of course, my debut book 20 years ago, The Power of People, 4 Kinds of People Can Change Your Life. And my new book, this isn't really new, but it's new to a lot of people, my Change Your Life book, which is also a journal and a guide as well. Let's go ahead and finish up with our affirmation. All right. This is my life and I get to change it. How? Asking. When I want to, how I want to, if I want to, because it was given to me. And that makes me very valuable, very important, very lovable, and extremely powerful. Thanks for listening in. Hope it wasn't too long. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Get caught up on previous episodes of Dr. Verna's Virtues at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
It's not just another day in your life. Things are changing for the better. At Comcast, we see those changes and we're thinking about how we use technology today to live, work, learn, and play. And we're building for the future now, so we're better prepared for the wants and needs of tomorrow. That's why Comcast is rolling out multi-gig internet speeds to more than 50 million homes and businesses before the end of 2025, making our already industry-leading network even faster, smarter, greener, and more reliable. Over the decades, Comcast has been your partner, working hard to serve your community, and will continue to be your partner. We're expanding our gigabits, so you can enjoy the tiny bits that matter most.
Are you feeling under the weather? Maybe it's the start of a cold, or your asthma acting up, or maybe you think you're still recovering from the holidays. But a cough, runny nose, sore throat, or fever can all be symptoms of COVID-19. Muscle aches, headaches, and fatigue, even an upset stomach, can also mean you've got a case of COVID. The best way to find out for sure is by taking a COVID-19 test. This winter, you and your family can be prepared by keeping at-home tests on hand. Minnesotans may order free tests each month. These rapid nasal swab tests are reliable, and you'll get the results in about 15 minutes. No lab visit or drop-off required. Get your free test at sayyeshometest.org. That's sayyeshometest.org while supplies last. Find out for sure if you've got COVID-19 so you can protect those around you.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
Are you a woman known as a good listener? Do you have skills in de-escalating situations? Are you what they call a people person? Then the Minneapolis Police Department would like to meet you. Now in a rebuilding phase, the Minneapolis Police Department is recruiting more women to wear the badge. The department offers career options for women with a high school diploma or GED. There are also opportunities for women with 2- and 4-year degrees who are ready to apply their skills in new ways. Police work makes a great second career for social workers, teachers, nurses. Women in their 30s and 40s are welcome to apply. There's no age cap. You'll be paid while you train and mentored by veteran women officers invested in your success. Minneapolis also welcomes current police officers to join the state's largest department. Make a difference on the streets, working in your community, in a career with competitive salaries and generous benefits. Go to minneapolismn.gov and search police jobs to find out more.